Welcome everyone to another RGL cast. My name is Jarrett and I'm here with Space Ghost to bring you guys a doubleheader this time around. It's Froyotech versus Leica G6, RGL Invite 6's Season 8, Week 2A and 6B. Tonight is going to be Pro Lands and then Gully Wash and what is a rematch of the, I guess you could say maybe the grand finals that happened in the local host land not too long ago. So definitely really excited to see these two teams go up against each other. It's going to be important for their seeding into playoffs to make sure they can get a favorable outcome for, making sure their pick bands are where they wanted to be in. I guess technically solidifying themselves as top teams even further than they already have been. Space, we are in for quite a night. One, because of the amount of TF2 that's being played, and two, because it's, depending on how long it's been since you've watched TF2, might have been a bit before you actually saw Pro Lands be played.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see some very good TF2 and the return of Badlands. Really kind of classic map going back to the oldie days of when the game launched, I believe. So it's always nice to see Badlands back in the pool, and I guess it is Pro Lands now. We have professionalized it, as they say. It's been refreshed, revamped a bit. And on that note, I guess before we get too deep in the weeds, do we want to go over maybe rosters a bit?
Yeah, I mean, that's probably safe. I mean, with these teams, they've been around for like a year or so, but you never know. You could change your roster every now and then. Might not have been kept up. I mean, I know with this season, it's been pretty rough keeping track of all the team just because it's been hard to watch the matches in the first place. But I'll go ahead and go over the Froyotech roster. It is Jay and Banny on Scout, Marmalou and Mirman on Soldier, Habib on Demo, and May on Medic.
And for Leica G6, we have Bomo, aka Bot Mode, on Scout. We have Caps on Scout. We have Soapy Meister on Soldier. We have Rakuso on Soldier. We have Logan on Demoman and Howard on Medic.
Yep, all familiar names coming out of these 12. And actually, I think Pro Lance, this is going to be a rematch actually of the land match that happened not too long ago. Like I was saying before, the Fulton land, it was Pro Lands that was actually picked. I'm not sure who picked it at the land, but I know that Froyotech picked Pro Lands all the way back in week 2, and then the land got in the way around the same time. They delayed the match, and then we're in the doubleheader we are now. But I mean, one, we got to talk a little bit about Pro Lands, Badlands in particular. It's a very unique map, and then two, probably want to go into a little bit of predictions of what we think might happen, especially since we have some of the to kind of reference, really.
Yeah, and I already mentioned this before the cast started, but I will say that so as opposed to the normal Valve Badlands, one big change that ProLens make is it actually brings the cap time on last point back to like the old cap time where you breathed on it for a second and it instantly capped. So definitely,
Yeah,
oh,
just
it's
sneeze on it.
always entertaining to say the least. It's never not entertaining. I have some fond memories of capping the point in matches with 12 people live in the server. It's very entertaining and it's very stressful as the defense, knowing that a spy could deep cloak on the point and that could just be the round. It's really really stressful. But I don't know how I feel about Pro Lands, but I like this map because a lot of like kind of mechanics you don't see that much anymore. There's like drop downs. There's like the funny tube above last. There's a lot of good things like that going on in the map.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of what people think of it, you definitely can't argue that there's a lot of uniqueness to it. There's not very many maps that have the underutilized as much as like some maps would, and it's not all about high ground. The high ground is like pretty minuscule. I mean, the crates are something, but compared to other maps where you can just be up in the skybox for the most part as scouts, like denying soldiers is not as pronounced. The way that you can do forward holds on this map and be able to sack and laugh pretty safely is can be pretty nasty sometimes. And the wraps and back caps, so we all know and love, looping around through Valley or trying to break stalemates in that way, getting people behind and just existing back there for multiple minutes of a time. It's always something that you can see sometimes on Badlands that might be a little bit more difficult to pull out on other maps. So it's definitely going to be unique to see how these teams really deal with it. We did see it happen in the grand finals of the previous land. Like I said, it was a bit Froyotech one-sided, a 5-0 in 15 minutes. So at least in the land environment, Froyotech definitely had G6's numbers, but it's been a bit. Everyone's had a time to adjust and learn from there, especially G6 because they're the ones that got flaws pointed out. They unfortunately lost that series for their side, but there's also the online aspect. You're back in your comfort zone, but you're also back with whatever ping you might have. So there's a lot of variables in play here. So I mean, who's to say really how things are exactly going to go down? But I definitely know that with the night we had ahead of us, this is definitely going to be super important, not just for obviously collecting the win, but setting the pace for the rest of the night. You do not want to go into a doubleheader and then lose the first map. That is a very big test to your morale.
It's definitely also one thing to lose the first map and get rolled the first map. Those are two things
Yeah.
entirely, and definitely I think G6 can really, if they put up a good showing, even if they lose, as long as they put up a good showing, I feel like Froyotech might have second thoughts about maybe picking this map in playoffs or banning it if they do run into each other. But if Froyotech rolls G6 of this map, then that means their map pool is that much tougher because G6 have to ban it. If you lose twice on this map, even if after you've had time to go back and talk about things, see what you want to do. That's when you just got to get that map out of the pool before Froyotech picks it.
One thing that's interesting, that I noticed is so this is a week 2 match, so this happened, like, the pick bans for it. The map was set, like, I'm pretty sure it was set a while ago. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. There's maybe a chance that it lingered and the pick bans were never done, but I think it's interesting none oh, okay, I am wrong. Well, I think it's interesting that, there was the Gully Wash match that's gonna be happening after this. They actually banned Badlands. Like maybe they had a I don't know why they would pick it and then ban it. I guess maybe it's the classic like you purposely try to like practice as many maps as possible in the regular
Yeah,
season, but
probably.
I don't know. There could be something to say there that you don't want to like spam the map too much because then if you allow like, they already beat them in the land setting. If they beat them now and then they ended up playing the map again, that would just give G6 even more time to adapt to whatever difficulties that might come their way. So, um, I think G6 is definitely very capable of adapting in the heat of the moment. We've seen it before, and they've been able to pull out all the stops, like when it's needed to net themselves the success they need to solidify themselves as a top team. But with this being such foreign territory for some players, I mean, this is a real old school
Yeah,
map.
this
Like
this is
at the
this is
top level,
yeah.
like it's one thing to be like, yeah, I mean, I can play the map, but like to literally know every single nook and cranny, every single playbook, like I don't think there's gonna be some players that their only comfortable place on this map where they're like, "Yeah, I know the ins and outs." Is gonna be where the splash is on Spire, and then that's about it. So we'll kinda see how that comes into play and how quickly, they're able to adapt to whatever is thrown at them tonight.
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely some of the Zoomers, as they say, are definitely going to be very comfortable standing on top of the crates on mid and on top of the spire. And those are the only two parts of the map they're going to really feel comfortable on. Very much agreed there. And when you brought up the map bans, it was interesting because when you look at the map bans, Froyotech banned Process and Sunshine, and then for the second round of map picks, G6 banned Process and Sunshine. So it appears that nobody really wants to play those maps, or at least they don't want them revealed until playoffs, perhaps. But both sides very eager to It's kind of interesting to see when you do like back to back pick bans like that. That you know both teams both don't want to play a particular random map because you could argue that Process and Sunshine are pretty similar. But on that note,
Yeah.
I did see the Preds on the screen. Maybe do we want to do Preds?
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about what we expect out of this match. For scores, I kinda feel like it'll still be Froyotech dominant. I'm leaning I mean, you never know what can happen on Badlands. One really nice mid, it can let you last as long as your last pushes are good enough, although you can say that for any map, but, um, I would probably say, like, a 5-1 in Froyotech's favor, but who knows?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking like a 5-2 for Froyo. Like I think Froyotech pulls it out, but I think G6 probably cleaned things up enough that they can get a round or two off of just being more comfortable in that map. I think they can maybe drag it out. You know what I mean? They might be able to have some good last holds or have some things going on that drag this match out. And it's not just like a very clean 5-0. And
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to say, like it's weird to be well, not really weird, but you always occasionally have those scenarios where you play a team on a map and you kinda, get rolled or just things don't go your way, and you end up rematching them due to whatever reason later on in the season, maybe a playoffs, map pick or whatever. You have, like, evidence right there to go back and look through a demo and find, like, the things that really screwed your team over and can adapt, completely change. If you notice the other team only pulled out one strategy the entire time, you can craft something to kinda counter them for at least a little bit. I mean, it's not gonna carry you throughout the entire match probably, especially at the highest level of TF2, but, you can get some traction, and I think that's all you really need, especially when it comes to, Badlands mids, because Badlands is another one of those maps. I think it was probably maybe the king, uh, while it was still in the pool with Granary of, mids potentially being over before they began uh, just because demos get locked out by soldiers or just die immediately in the crossfire, and then you don't really like get to have a mid. I think it's gonna be really important probably, because it's if your start of your mid isn't gonna be good, then you're not really going to have an opportunity to play the map, and you're just going to be kind of sent to last. Maybe two if you're lucky. If you pull out early enough, you can stay mate on two, but even then, it can be pretty rough without a demoer. So
I was gonna say, do you think Habib? Because I feel like Habib is much more of a kind of an old school, not a super old school player, but definitely Habib's one of the most experienced demos around, and I'm sure he's had a lot of various matches and experiences on Badlands. Whereas compared to Logan, Logan definitely more of a newer player. Do you think that's gonna be that much like of a bigger advantage on mid, just because Habib has that much more experience on Badlands mid, other than MG, of course.
I think an experience difference between demo and for Badlands is definitely going to come into play outside of the mid. I think when it comes down to where you put your traps and where you feel comfortable playing and how you position yourself in relation to the rest of your team is going to be a bigger factor in like a lot of the stalemates outside of last, because last is just trapping the point and stuff like that. But for mids, I think it's going to be a little bit more on the soldiers, unless the demomen like don't roll at the same speed. Like if a demoman screws up his rollout and then isn't able to get there as fast and just gets destroyed that way, and that's one story. But I feel like it's not too uncommon to see like teams will start fights just by bringing their soldiers super fast on these tiny mids or really fast-paced mids before the rest of the team has arrived for the opposing side. And they'll do like a little miniature like 2v1 or 3v2 that'll just net them tons and tons of space. Like time and time and again, you watch a Badlands demo and you'll see that a soldier went fast and the other one didn't. So the other demo got to just sit on the point and spam downward at the enemy team slope because he wasn't afraid of the other demo. The other demo got locked in his own house, right?
Yeah.
So but it's gonna be kinda curious to see. I guess there is a little bit of disparity between, like, whether a demo rolls out house and rolls out window and, like, what he can see and what he can lock out for, like, demo that rolls out window is not gonna be able to, uh, lock out the slope, for example, but he might be a little bit safer than the train, so there's a little give and take there. There's definitely some things that will come into play with, I guess, like, Habib versus Logan in terms of how they decide to play for the most part, but
And the medics too, like isn't I correct me if I'm wrong, but Badlands mid is kind of one of those mids where sometimes medics just vaporize before the mid even starts. Like I feel like Granary maybe it shares that with Granary, not as much as Granary, but I feel like this might be one of those maps where medics can sometimes just kind of die. Sometimes they just
some
don't get to play the game.
sometimes the spam can be gnarly. You're trying to walk up the slope, and then
Yeah,
I
there's
mean
just
it's
stickies
low
there.
ground. Stickies or just like pipes, like
Yeah,
especially with Iron Bomber being a thing. The rollers will just explode as you're trying to walk over them and get over them in time, and it might not necessarily kill you, but it can realistically kill you, drop you low enough to where you either have to A, stay in and die to a single rocket, not being able to surf it because your health isn't high enough, or B, you have to duck inside the house and now you're just indoors, you're locked out with your team. Your heals aren't aggressive, your team doesn't feel comfortable staying out on the train because your scout's getting chipped away without a beam, so it just makes things so much more rough.
yeah. I will say I'm looking at the teams here. Who do you? I feel like the Spire King in this. I feel like Rakuso has to be the Spire King. Like if you have
Yeah.
to do like if there is like a big MG like round robin tournament on Spire of all the players in the server, I feel like Rakuso comes on top. He is the most probably the highest elo out of anyone here.
Yeah, they definitely have that going for them for the side of G6.
Lands
Uh,
mid too. Rakuso was no slouch on Badlands mid either. Although I see Danny and Habib on stream, they're always playing each other on it. So definitely those two no slouches either.
yeah, you just have to get to those portions of the map really like
You do.
like
I hope we get at least one like actual like MG fight just to see who wins it. You know what I mean? Like you gotta get like the one designated like actual MGE fight per Badlands match.
oh for sure. Just
There's
the
always
classic
one.
one person left over. Just
Yeah,
both get on the cap, duke it out. Those are always a treat to see.
yeah.
But I mean, we always say this with matches that could potentially be one-sided depending on how things go, and I only say that because of the lands. You never know what you might be not seeing second at all. It could be straight mid to last depending on how things go, but it's not
That
too
does
much longer
happen.
until we see how it's going to go. We are going live into the first half of G6 versus Froyotech here on Badlands. Both teams rolling out so far. Demos look like they're doing fine in terms of the roll for the most part, although actually Habib did much faster than Logan, never mind. So they're actually able to get a little position here, but
Habib's
let's
on
see
the crate.
yeah, they're going to
He's
the
getting
other
really
side of
pressured
mid.
though. Oh my god, he's so hurt by just scout spam. And Logan is gonna fall. Habib is gonna get bowed, so he's a little bit healthier. Rakuso gonna get air shot and gonna fall in the backline. Looks like that might be it for G6. I see them on the low ground, running away looking quite sad. Big bomb from Marvel gonna direct Howard, and the scouts are gonna try to clean up with that.
Howard,
Danny
12.
chasing Howard, unable to save Howard. They're gonna get Danny his consolation prize, but there's a lot of shenanigans happening Mirrorman gonna fall as well, but May living this mid, at least so far. Wait, Soapy's in deep.
Oh, that's a big bomb. Oh, he's just going behind. He's cutting them off. He's inside the house, or at least trying to duel Marmalade at least a little bit, but
Marmalade.
yeah, not gonna be able to find that. But overall,
That actually bought some time. They had to go back for it. Now I see scouts trying to contest mid, trying to just buy time to maybe equalize his Ubers. Bombo's actually behind on second, even though, you know, he can't really cap second. Mid isn't capped yet, but G6 keeps sending all these players behind, and I think it's a good effort to buy themselves time, knowing they already have Uber to set. Might as well, you know, buy themselves time to set up and maybe get a hold, get some sacks going. Definitely a good theory there.
We're already seeing a good example of the chaos that can happen on Badlands, and we're only barely past the first mid. May has 100%, Howard unable to live in the previous mid fight, so gonna be setting up at last with the rest of his team. They don't have any off classes or anything set up yet. They're going for a forward hold, trying to make them go ahead and climb up the spire. Got Logan sticking up the shutter, but they're testing them. They're trying to poke their way through. They're almost going through. Oh man, I guess they're just gonna give him up to be able to get through very quickly. But the Uber ad's it's dwindling a little bit. They gotta go ahead and get ready to shove one of these doors that they actually want to use the ad. But I guess with Banny dead, they're just gonna play it safe and be like, all right, well, we weren't able to get through there cleanly. We test with the waters a bit, but at the bare minimum, we're able to secure the lobby. We'll go into a stalemate. Banny will respawn. You know, they're not playing greedy with it, which is pretty smart, especially since this is a very prime position for a team on offense. This is always the spot where you want to be for the most part, because it can be so hard for the defense to actually get out of this position. Very, very difficult.
Yeah, no off class from Banny here, and I will say I really like what G6 did on it, where they sent all those players behind. It really bought themselves time to get this Uber for last. That way, you know, having to deal with the Uber head push on last is so, you know, just annoying to deal with. We do see Froyotech pushing, you know, kind of poking and prodding in lobby. We see all the projectiles just kind of standing there. There's a lot of spam happening. They're trying to spam down this gun, but the Pyro class is a kind of welcome to Badlands last stalemate. I am your god FGC with Jared. We might be here for a while.
Yeah, the gun's in the more forward position rather than the further back position, so it definitely has to be spammed out first. Guns that are more passive, usually you can like go top right or something, and then the gun isn't able to see you the entire time. You're able to shove like the roamer or something, but you can always do this other type of roamer shove they're doing right now, trying to go into sub, but no damage on him really. It's gonna be Mirrorman that's taking a lot of damage trying to go in. Banny flagging from the right side to put some extra damage, but with the reset cabinet available for the side of the G6 team, they will not drop anyone in this aggressive attempt at trying to take over the right half of the map. So Froyotech, only thing they're really going to gain there is some lost health.
I am amazed no one died there. I saw like at the parts of the map there where I'm like, oh, surely someone has to die here, right? Like,
Their initial explosion actually did no damage to the side of G6, which is the big thing. It's the surprise factor that's huge.
Here they go again.
Yeah, they're trying again. They're able to get through a little bit. Sophie's not in the shutter, so unable to really get a whole lot of damage with the pre-fire there. Mirren popped up. Some damage onto Rakuso. Going to go ahead and back up Marmalade, making sure that he's able to escape. But Habib and Main unchecked, and they're able to make sure that Sophie Meister is falling. The gun's getting low, but he's whacked up to make sure he's full HP. But Rakuso falling as well. That's no soldiers and explosive class there, with Habib falling. The gun getting a 2K. All right,
Habib and Banny, that's... yeah, Habib is typing in chat over that one.
He says, I'm so stupid, what am I doing, lol.
Yeah, the gun is on a tear right now, on a 2K, so engineer class probably... I think the engineer class might be top ranking for G6 right now. You really love to see it. And on that note, yeah, they're going to back up, regroup a little. Still not off classes for Froyotech, so they seem comfortable doing these kind of, you know, cookie cutter sixes classes, kind of sacks, instead of having some meme off classes. You know, maybe we're not at quite meme territory yet. You gotta get the cookie cutters out of the way.
Yeah, I mean, you can like do off classes, but you don't really need them per se.
Yeah, you don't need them.
The big thing is the gun, but the gun's in such an aggressive position that you should be relatively fine. I mean, they've just been avoiding it for now. They've been doing that right side play. Didn't work out the first time. The first time it was alright, and then it kind of floundered it a bit. But yeah, it looks like they may be going for a point play instead. They're trying to clip the stickies off the point so that when they get on it, it's very, very quickly. But the gun has to die for that to happen. So if they're going to clear the stickies first and then kill the gun, it's just going to give more time for Logan to
get a scout in through bottom left and get on the point. I've seen it happen before. If that gun can kind of shoot the scout, but if he gets behind the wall there, it actually can't shoot it. It's definitely possible.
It might just depend on when the gun's rotation is. You always see those really sad moments where the gun is looking in the complete opposite direction in its rotation, and you're able to sneak on.
Yeah.
But
speaking of which, here comes, we do have both soldiers. Third time's the charm. Both soldiers bottom left there. We do see Banny walking in as well, or at least poking and prodding. Jay could be in very deep, actually almost gonna kill a soldier there, but you have the Pyro class going in and killing Marmalade, and that's 2-for-1 trade for the offense here. They're only gonna get Recruso as a kind of consolation prize there. And if G6 can't really push out here, it's gonna be difficult. Maybe they can take an Uber exchange if they're really, you know, feeling good about themselves. But I think they're just content to sit on last. You know, maybe even reset the timer. Here comes Vanny for another sack. Actually, kind of a little bit of an off time.
Ooh, there's
Actually,
the gun.
he does get Soapy.
Now the chaos might start to happen. All the caps. He's just going in, finds the beam again. I don't think he's sticking himself off. I think he's using his stickies for damage, and that's just leaving him a little bit vulnerable.
Trying to poke.
So with no dome, man, it's going to be really hard for Froyotech, but they're still going in, finding the opening, making sure that... Oh, that rocket almost hit. Yeah, they're walking all the way in. Despite him being dead, the gun not being there is huge. Jay going for the 4 is going to be able to pop that off, and the blue team will spawn in Kai and onto the Pyro and the Dome. They've lost low ground at least a little bit, or high ground rather, but Jay being a terror, making sure that Soapy Meister is in the grave, but going to give up his life for it. Rotation to the right side. Caps trying to do as much damage as he can. He gets Fanny, not enough damage to burst the Pyro, and Caps will live through that endeavor. So with so many Froyotech players dying at the tail end of that, especially it's your 2 scouts with bot mode. Bot mode's already on the chase. He's behind the combo. He doesn't even know it. He's cutting them off. It's going to be really rough. May trying to go and drop him, but he's going to find himself alone. Rakuso jumping in, getting air shot at the side of Marmlu, bumping up in the skybox, unable to make sure that he's able to get that kill, and he will eventually die. So May living to fight another day.
The
cap going for the side of bot mode. Mirror Man barely get him at the tail end of it, but the chaos is happening. Jay inside lobby, make sure he's cleaning up 1, and the recap is going the way of Froyotech. After all is said and done, it was such a perfect window for the side of G6 to pop out, just flounders their way out, and there are 3 left alive, keeping the Pyro as Froyotech busts in.
Oh wait, look, the Pyro damage got good time though. Logan is going to kill Vanny here, but there's Froyotech players everywhere, and players are just dying, and that's going to be the last cap. So I think maybe the Froyotech strategy, or I don't know if it was intentional, but the bait them into a you know, unfortunate last push at a blast seems to be the winning strategy there.
Yeah, they that was a good opportunity. It was a fair shot to try to push out. I mean, no scouts is really, you know, can't get too much better realistically, but it just didn't really work out in their favor. The execution was not quite there. And another mid we go. Soapy tried to go fast, missed to jump a little bit. Habib so much quicker than
He's
Logan.
so deep.
Able to get some damage onto the slope, but actually no one's really there, so
Soapy's
it's not too
behind.
much damage right home for it. Double soldier bomb, landing in the same spot in the side of Froyotech. Soapy's also behind. Gonna be soldier trade over in the side of the house area. Soapy Meister working his way to go behind as well right now. So Banny turned around, Jay having to fight forward. On to Caps, who's taking up side of the train. Marmlu jumping in to support his team. The rest of the red team runs up the right side, but the Cap is just going the way of Froyotech. They almost barely get this Cap to give forward to Mirror Man, but they're gonna get blocked out. With no soldiers, they're unable to take space, and just Jay forward trying to buy space for his team, but a huge bomb from Soapy, making sure that May did not see that coming at all. So good kill secure from the side of G6, killing a fleeing Froyotech team, and with the rest of their team unable to find themselves in position to push forward. Despite all that cap time, it's going to flip back around, and it's going to go in favor of like a G6.
Yeah, the G6 chaos strategies on mid seem to really pay off there. You know, Soapy was behind for the real long con there, and they ended up, you know, Froyotech, they had the cap, they had all this cap time, but they recognized they were in kind of a bad position, so they tried to back up, and that's when they just got absolutely mulched by a high bomb from Soapy. So heads up play from him, and I was gonna say this on mid, but I didn't have the opportunity to. I think the beam off classes, like Pyro and Engineer, have more kills than 6s. And
the double
Caps
spam.
Is gonna fall.
Howard's
15 health.
Howard almost dropped the double spam.
They're gonna trade Marmlu out for that. The goal is to try to get into last year, but I don't know if they're gonna be able to. They get Soapy off of a reflect rocket, and that's it. And we do have Mirror Man behind, causing more chaos.
Yeah, the double
spam. It's gonna go to the forwards too.
The double span on bats is really, really gnarly, and I think that's a really good example of why you need to be extremely careful about it. Dropped a scout, pretty much got forced. Early we got a trade, and they killed one and lost another, so pretty good push spot for the side of Froyotech. Mirror Man getting a little bit too deep, but the nice arrow into Howard going to make him a little bit low, so unable to commit too far. There is ad for the side of May if we're able to get in time. Not too much longer until they have it. Soapy going up, drop down, a little bit behind. They're trying to take some positioning. Bot mode is on top of the cap. Bomb from Soapy, getting more space. Marmlu jumping in as well, but unable to really get a whole lot of space. Actually, I think he missed his jump at least a little bit, so he might be giving up his life for it. No, unable to get the kill there. Yeah, he's gonna fall there. But this Uber May still has it. They're just finding a right opportunity to go. They still have the cap.
Rakuso's on the cap, just shooting down at players. Yeah, he's gonna go behind him.
Yeah,
Marmlu is gonna fall, and Mirror Man kind of has to be in Rakuso duty here to not let Rakuso cap. So we might actually see that MG fight as Froyotech are gonna back up. It's just Jay kind of behind, causing a little bit of chaos, trying to take a fight. He's dodging diving his way around, but unable to get the kill. And it looks like that Froyotech are down to. There's a lot of kills happening. Rakuso does manage to. Doesn't really quite get the trade, but there's a lot of damage on May there.
Yep, gonna take the pack, be up on bats. A little bit separated from the side Habib, so they definitely have to link up because this Uber is in favor of Howard, so at one point you want to try to get the force, but on the other hand, you don't want to be too greedy and cap. He's just saying,
Here comes an Uber.
let's get this dome man kill. Habib takes the pack, but it's not enough. They found their way through and able to kill Banny as well. May unable to find a heal target on side. That has to walk away as Mirrorman and Marmalou are behind. They're going back for him. Now Cap's taking the fight onto Marmalou. They're able to barely just sneak away
Both
into
soldiers
the
got
forward and back
forwards.
spawns. They're able to escape at last, but this Uber for Cap and, you know, get a couple kills, at least enough to solidify their presence in lobby. I mean, that's good enough. It's not, they don't have Uber quite yet. Man,
Yeah,
friends, they
Froyotech
don't have
actually
an
has
off class
Uber
really.
here.
I mean, they have the Pyro, so it's gonna stop them at least a little bit. I guess they're gonna wait for respawners.
We're gonna see. We might see a Pyro Uber if they're in lobby, but I think G6
No, they're
wisely
out.
decided to not be in lobby there. So Froyo are gonna try to push out a last with this Uber ad, but Froyotech have to be very careful. We're pushing out a bad line. Last is known to be quite the enigma sometimes, and it can definitely end up backfiring. And yeah, they don't even. They had 50% Uber ad. They didn't even want to try it. Back on last.
They probably thought it was a little bit smaller, and even then, it's like this last is really rough to push out of. There's too many doors to watch. So
And
like
the,
even
and
if
the
you,
point caps instantly. There's no room for error.
if you cover every single door, it's a lot on. Well, it's not a lot on, but you're testing a couple 1v1s there, and if that goes wrong,
Yeah.
you're kind of screwed. And even if you just leave a dude at last and push out, that dude can get 2v1 by an open door.
Yeah.
So like,
Even a sentry, you could just like they can just get past it if they get on the point. If the gun doesn't watch all of the point, you could just lose like that. It's really it's a tough one. And now it's
you have to be slow and methodical, and you just can't play slow and methodical with. That's
Red?
not big enough. No.
yeah. So on that note, we do have now it's G6's turn to see how they like to try to push this last break for stalemate. The big change I see from Froyo compared to G6 is that we do have the J sniper on last, which definitely is a good call. And that's
the
a
pipe.
drop from May with just pipes.
Where is Logan even? Oh, he
He just
died.
walked through
Okay.
main.
Yeah, he just walked through main and piped him. Blind pipe. I think that's a good example. Like, you notice this gun in particular, this is the passive gun. This is the gun that can't actually see the doors that clearly. So
Yeah.
they're just trying to get
Okay,
on
so
point,
on
really
point.
playing it.
Is he gonna-
they
oh, he got
they
it!
Get, see, this passive gun, they're unafraid of just going and owning that side of the map, even main, just because the gun is unable to watch all these doors. So yes, you have an engineer, but do you have an engineer in the spots where it counts? And all this chaos combined is going to lead to a tie game. G6 Froyotech 1-1.
Yeah, I think they really didn't expect the demo to just walk through main and shoot all of his pipes because Logan died for that too. It wasn't like it was a free. Like Logan just traded his life for pipe spam. It ended up very much working out in their favor. And Habib is so aggressive on it. He is so deep. He's eating a lot of damage for it. We'll see him. They are getting a lot of space early on these bits. We do see Habib actually going to end up falling or going to be the first kill, but there are a lot of hurt players all around. Sophie going to get 1v1 by Jay, who needs a bow actually, so definitely going to help there. But Vanny going to fall out while everyone's looking at behind it. Sophie, Jay going to fall too, going to actually trade out for Cap, so at least he does get that trade kill there. But that's actually another mid win for G6.
Yeah, they baited Habib spam really hard. He took in a really aggressive position because he noticed that the enemy demo was going window. So he was like, all right, bet, I'm not going to get 1v1 this hard. I'm just going to get aggressive. I'm going to shoot them on the slope and they're going to do a ton of damage. But they baited it. They waited for the stickies and then walked up. So Habib, only thing he really did was lost a lot of health. And they're losing health right now. They're rushing forward. Logan actually in a prime position to get some kills, but he's actually going to die. Oh, but May, speaking of dying, who's going for the flame, getting both Habib and May. That's huge. So now Howard, it's not just even, it's a full ad. At least he has left alive for Froyo.
Yeah, that dry fight from Froyo. Rakuso, that's 2 fights now. Rakuso's been in a prime position to just really clean up at the end of the fight and just do massive damage. And here comes G6. They're streaming through the bottom left. They're just on the point, and now they pop the Uber, and they instantly cap. That was
very fast.
I gotta say, Rakuso is one of the prime boomers in the server. Is definitely showing his experience. He is having some massive plays.
I want to say Rakuso is the second oldest player in the server. Maybe third.
Bot mode Banny.
Bot mode and Rakuso. Yeah.
Bot mode Banny, Rakuso, then probably Habib and Marmalou.
So definitely showing, but we have another mid on our hands here. G6 currently in the lead. We're going to see how the damage is kind of spread out. Once again, both teams a little baiting a little bit, but actually a lot of aggression coming from the side of the G6 play, going over onto May, who will eventually die. Same with Habib, only really giving up Sophie for it. There's still a distraction coming with the rest of them, getting Banny as well. They're unable to clean up this bomb that's coming from G6. So much room, and Howard's still alive. Bomb coming in from Marmalou on the side of the Froyotech soldiers, trying to make sure that they can collect the medic kill of their own, but they're not hitting their shots. He's barely taking any damage. He took a little bit at the beginning, but still jumped and jived his way around to make sure he survived through that onslaught. And another mid going in the in favor of G6. Looks like they've learned a little bit from last time they played Froyotech on Badlands, it looks like.
They have, and that was a masterful movement from Howard. He was like in the perfect spots to where the rockets just can barely not splash him, even if they're like, geometrically close to him. And we're gonna take a little bit of spam damage there, but yeah, masterful play from Howard that they're
Oh,
dodging
quick
like
Uber.
two things. They do have a quick Uber, but if they get the kills there and get into last, it can still be worth it. They don't. They might not even have time to really get set up here. Look at the point times.
They barely got hit. They called their bluff. They're like, this forward hold's gonna be sloppy. Let's just go in right now. They go in. They go bottom right. They barely got Habib in spawn. He hadn't clicked his reset bind yet, so the sticky actually killed him as the shutter was closed while he was in the spawn, and then just immediately times forward the cap with the demo man dead.
Yeah, you can really see the ×4 on the cap is so huge. Just
It's insane.
yeah, it's insane. It's definitely a viewer spectacle because it makes pushing last or holding last very difficult because one little you slip up for a second like that and just die in spawn and that's just the round there.
It's extremely punishing to say the least.
Yeah, and I will say I think that's 3 Ubers in a row. G6 just sent like an entire blob of people through bottom left and ended up winning. Those last fights from them were I think they were 3 for 3.
Yeah, and that's also the second time that they've noticed that, like, all right, your forward holding, it doesn't look that strong. They just Uber through the forward hold and able to like get enough space to be comfortable with. I mean, I think the first time they did it didn't lead to like as much success as we literally just saw, but it was still like, all right, we'll take it. So,
Holy
Froyotech,
Logan.
they got some adjusting to do, but yeah, Logan's top in the DPM charts right now, just barely passing caps, 302 DPM, and it's actually Habib that's it's kind of surprising with how much space you can kind of see Habib take at mid. You would think that like, how is he not just destroying them because he's just standing on top of the point? He's raining down on the slope. But I think the one thing that the viewers can't really see that we can see because we're bird's eye view, there's no one on that slope he's shooting downward at. G6 is baiting them very hard at mid, and it's starting to show. They're like, all right, you can have the point and the presence. That's fine. You can spam down at us, but we don't care.
Yeah,
It's not going to hit us.
yeah, and I've noticed a couple mids. Habib just gets kind of walked at by scouts because he's so aggressive, and that damage, I feel like it puts a lot of pressure on May then, because if May doesn't heal Habib, he's going to be useless and or dead. And that just puts so much strain on the entire team fight, I feel like. They're really, definitely back to the drawing board in terms of, G6 is playing against that aggression so well. It's honestly pretty impressive, and same thing, other than the one round where Freya kind of, they kind of failed a last push or two, and then once G6 tried to push out a last, they failed. So I think the moral of the story here is that pushing out a last or trying to forward hold is really tough. You got to be very on point, or else disaster is gonna happen.
Yeah, every single little thing can add up. Even like something as small as like where that gun was placed on last that I talked about. Like I think Logan might have melted like a little bit quicker. Maybe the gun would have taken the pipe instead of May.
Yeah, the
Like,
guns taking the pipes.
so even the tiniest of thing can really make the difference. So curious to see what kind of adjustments we're gonna see, because there's I think we saw a fair amount of what Badlands has to offer. Spare maybe like we see people going behind, but we haven't really seen wraps yet. We haven't seen like a mid to second stalemate yet, which I'm kind of happy for because people
There's
that
some
can bring a lot of
historical
PTSD.
notes there.
But we've seen a fair amount of Badlands, so there's a lot that we've seen that's gone really right and really wrong for all the teams. So I'm curious what teams are going to think from their perspective are the things they need to focus on and change. I think for the most part, if I had to make predictions, Froyotech is probably going to definitely address the way they're taking mid. They're probably going to play a little bit of slower pace, and they might even ask Habib to like go window or something so he can like be healthy, even if he doesn't get a whole lot of damage, because he's not really getting like tons and tons of damage right now anyway.
Yeah. He's not locking him out of mid. He's just
But for the side of G6, I mean, they had some problems in the beginning, but they've kind of shaped up a little bit. So I'm actually not sure what they're going to try to.
They have chaos strats on that. I feel like two of the mids they sent players behind, and the kind of I feel like the way that backfires for G6 is if Froyo just can very quickly run at the G6 players before the players behind can do anything, or the players behind get 1v1 by Marmalu or Jay, or any of the flank players. So it definitely has that potential. It just I feel like it's the G6 chaos strategies are really working out well for them, and I think Froyotech, if they can figure out that and get some mids, so far I think every team that's won mid has won the round. Am I wrong on that?
I think so. Yeah, the second mid was almost won by Froyotech, and then
that was a close one.
And then it kind of got flipped. They just barely they had almost had that mid, and then just got off it, called early.
Yeah,
I think you're roughly right. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So winning mid definitely going to be talked talked about a lot. Maybe change up their last holds a bit, although those last holds I feel like were just the forward elements of it, not necessarily the last hold themselves, other than just like, kind of a miracle drop from Logan
Yeah,
onto May. Which that's kind of just like, hey, just don't eat the pipes. That one's easy to fix.
just don't eat the pipes, forehead.
Yeah, true. Just play
Just
perfectly.
pop.
Yeah, just play perfectly. Or you. So on that note, yeah, we haven't really seen second's been much more of a transition point. It's kind of like I feel like process second, where like a lot of the times you just kind of walk through second on the way to last and don't have a proper hold on it. Like Froyotech has tried and it hasn't worked well.
Yeah, I think most of the time you really see that for the most part is when a mid is barely won and the team gets out. Because let's be real, you're not seeing a second stalemate because the team got out of last successfully and then either like and they couldn't keep going. Like if you're able to get out of last, is probably you're going the whole way. But so far, a lot of the mids have been relatively one-sided, at least enough to where like important enough kills have been secured to where it's really all yours. And I think you can say that for a lot of like almost all maps. Like literally, it can come down to the mid. You don't really get to see a whole lot of the map played if the mids go in a certain direction. It's because you just go straight to last, which realistically is what we've been seeing. But
Yeah.
who knows what'll be in store for the second half? One little adjustment coming from either of the teams that can really set things in either direction.
Alright, if Froyotech ends up winning this, and we do a post-round interview with them, do you think we're going to hear the word ping coming from Danny? Do you think that's a distinct possibility?
If not, we can force it because
I
I don't doubt that Marmalou probably will run Pain Train at some point, and then we can get him to talk about Marmalou's Pain Train. So he'll technically say Pain there. But we do have another mid.
True.
The second half
I'm just saying
Habib is
ping,
so
yeah.
aggressive once again. He is putting a lot of presence, but he's not a little bit of damage onto the scouts. They're actually making sure they're able to get the opposing
really
team's
want
train, and they
Howard.
killed Logan, which has led to a lot of success, a lot of soldier aggression right at the bat. Sophie coming in kind, but they're able to shut him down very quickly. It is just Caps left alive, and they didn't change their level of aggression to more passive. They actually doubled down and send their soldiers extremely fast to make sure that the aggression was alleviated off of Habib. So despite there not being an explosive start, they're able to find the success to take the mid for themselves.
That's one way to win mid, is just make sure the NB medic can't play the game. Definitely a good strategy for at least having your mid be a net neutral, even if you lose the point. So definitely good on Froyotech. And now G6 are kind of up in the. It's going to be tough now, but actually, are Froyotech doing that same kind of bottom left last push now? They're just lingering in lobby.
I mean, it could be any door, really.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're actually taking their time here. I'm surprised they.
I guess passive gun, so they could ignore it if they really wanted to, but...
Yeah, it's already 50%. Here they go. They're doing the classic top left move where two scouts don't want to get pyroclast. But no pyro at the door, so these two scouts, they do get the gun down, but all the G6 players are currently alive. We do see some hurt scouts. Jay kind of getting trapped here behind the plate. We do have the Pudis coming out. Bombo, the only kill so far. There's Logan going to fall. That's going to be huge because now this Pudis needs to drop down to watch the point, but just the long spam game. Froyotech played that masterfully. That even though they only got like an initial sentry kill, they just played the high ground, played their health, and got the kills till they got the kill and got the round.
Yeah, they immediately sent both their scouts onto the floor behind the point to harass, kind of out of sight, out of mind, and make sure they were a thorn on G6's side. So round going for Froyotech, leading the game 3-2 in favor of G6. Gonna have another mid on our hands. A little bit of closer when it comes to, well, not as close, but Habib is still a little dominant when it comes to the rollout.
Here comes
so
the high bombs again, double bombing on Howard again.
A lot of damage onto him, surfing around. Marmalou will get cleaned up. They gave up both their soldiers, and actually they gave up Howard for that. So Caps and Logan, only ones left alive in the valley, unable to really find anything. Logan tries to jump out, not enough HP. They're trying to chase down Caps, try to bait Jay around the corner, but we unsuccessful. So only giving up their soldiers that one. Froyotech gonna take another mid fight as their own.
You think if the next mid fight we see just gonna be both teams killing the medics? Because G6 now, they haven't been able to play the game. Froyotech realized, oh, they're on the low ground. If they're on the low ground, let's just double bomb their medic, who, he can dodge one bomb. It's really tough to dodge that second one happening simultaneously. So I wonder next mid we'll see G6 goes, all right, well, if they're gonna kill our mid, we're gonna kill their mid. So at least we don't have to deal with an Uber at push until last.
And it's a classic, and if you don't see it this map, we'll definitely see it the next map, with the next map being Gully Wash after this, so we'll see what happens.
That's true.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with the two. But double scout to get rid of the pyro. He is aggressive, but he's more closer towards the gun. Air blasting the stickies coming from side of the Habib, and you're gonna swap off with the cap time. Oh, they did the stickies
That's
and Cruises on the point, trying to make sure it's blocked. Sophie giving up a slice as well. The times two, that is gnarly.
Yeah, that's the little man.
Both scouts are at 1 HP.
Yeah, and yeah, like. The cap time is so fast. I think Jay's left toe touched the cap, and it just instantly was just done. So, yep, that's the fast balance cap time, and It's only been it's
unironically run Scottish Resistance. More stickies. 14
yeah.
stickies on that cap.
Yeah, put a pyro on the cat. Yeah, there's a lot of things you can do there, but less than 3 minutes and 2 rounds already, and here comes, we do see some bombs, and yeah, here comes the counter double bomb. They're not able to find anything so far. Okay, they do find May with the pipe, so definitely I think me and G6 went the same wavelength there, where it's like, all right, well, at least we can kill their medic, so we don't have to deal with the red push. So, they might have to hold last, might be able to refight second here, but definitely at least they won't have to deal with Uber into last. And we do see Danny running around on Spire, so it looks like G6 are going to be at least even Uber hold on last.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty rough to actually push out of here. I mean, they can poke around a little bit. It seems like they're trying, but okay, no. Immediately getting a kill there. That's going to put a nail in the coffin. And Jay, he's on Spy. He's ready to go and do some shenanigans. This is the perfect time to go Spy. I mean, they're not going to wonder why you're not sacking, because it's just like, oh, well, they got to build Uber, of course. That just gives them plenty of time to cloak into position. So we'll see how this goes for their team.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was waiting for the offensive off class. It's really, kind of an all-time classic, especially on this map, where it's like you have the slow developing spy play. So definitely, let's see. Oh my god, someone almost pushed the stickies into Jay. That would have been hilarious if he died to that. But he's in position now. He's actually on the cloak and dagger here. Probably gonna wait until like everything. Actually, he's deep.
Oh, he's
going now. He wants to. Oh, he sapped the gun. No backstabbing. I feel like he could have tried to go for Logan, but he won the gun. They're just dry pushing.
Well, I think
they don't have Uber yet.
Jay noticed that it wasn't actually even, that it was extremely slim ad. So they just pushed off of the very, very slim ad.
That was the slimmest of margins I've ever seen. Like, Howard was at like, what, 97, 98%? They just capped that.
97.
So that was a huge big brain play from Jay there to call that, saying, oh, hey, we have like 5% Uber ad, let's go. And they get it. Only on Badlands, I feel like, do you see a 5% Uber ad push work out that well.
Definitely on small ass. And Habib, once again, extremely fast. Not really getting a whole lot of damage. No one's on the slope, but not taking too much himself, so Froyotech's okay in this department for now. Gonna lose Marmalade, though, which is gonna be a bit of a bane in their side as the rest of the G6 team runs up to the side of the right hand. Actually, Logan is separated from the rest of the team. I'm being caught out, depending on how aggressive they get onto him, but they are pretty much all caught. Spare one is going in DBA, try to go for May, unable to find that. Mirrorman gonna die over pretty much in the enemy team's house, but yeah, it's fightable. But oh, Jay's getting in really deep inside the enemy valley, bring the entire team, but it's just a distraction. Howard getting shot in the side, Bannon leading the charge, and the medic will die for the side of G6. Jay popping in the air, will die for the side of Crusoe. Logan dying as well. No scouts. May on the floor has to use. Cap's gonna be able to get that force with the side of Rakuso as well, going to backspawn. They're actually gonna be able to live through this well, so despite losing the medic, they can at least live with the fact that they're able to get that force, but it's still gonna be in favor of Froyotech at the end of the day.
Is this a second hold? We might see a second hold.
These are late scout deaths, so
yeah, we might.
It's they have forwards, so they get here pretty quick. But yeah, they're poking around. They're seeing what's possible.
Wait,
they're
they want to fight
Valley.
mid. They're going through Valley.
Yeah, the scouts.
Yeah, they want to fight mid. Okay.
Oh, one of them's a sniper too. They're getting in. Marmalade taking some
bombing.
damage.
Oh, here comes a double bomb. Howard taking a nice rocket, but can Mirrorman clean up on the rocket? He doesn't have the reload time to get there in time. Soapy gonna be hurt. Does he get cleaned up here? I don't know if they know he's here. He gets here comes the bomb. Oh, just barely misses the air shot, but the follow-up alley-oop is gonna get May. And that was a very successful mid-fight, or I guess refight from G6.
That was I don't know how much of that was Jay on sniper, but that was a really thin margin to really go by, because it was just scouts rolling out that you were trying to push off of, them not being in super position. But yeah, and only one scout rolling out there is going to be a little more difficult to hold that.
Part of it was too, Froyotech went for the double bomb on Howard, and Howard was able to live through it, and I feel like that kind of also won the fight, because now, if they get Howard there, it's probably a net even fight, probably back to square one, but Howard living there and May dying is huge.
Yeah, and now Uber coming in from the side of G6. They're pushing their way through. Pyro and Gun up by the spawn door, trying to burst down. The gun will eventually fall. But bot mode giving up his life for it, as well as Caps for this cap time. Mirrorman getting on the point, rather. Almost dying, but not even the enemy arrow quite in time. Loden dying to a chasing Jay. Gonna clean up at the side of Rakuso, but it's just these two G6 players left alive. Yeah, Habib does die a little bit later, or earlier on, so not gonna have a Dillman, but really don't need it with that many Froyotech players left alive. Able to get on the Spire. Go ahead and recap two.
They want to fight second. Or Crusoe's peeking, or they want to at least peek it a little bit. They're trying to spam in Howard. They do have, they know the players on Spire can't be super healthy.
Unseen. Getting in, on to May. Distraction for the side of Rakuso. Pop him in the corner.
Yeah, there's the force, and he lived for a long time there, so Rakuso's able to get out, or at least somewhat get out. Scouts on the chase here. It looks like, two players actually fall. Habib getting a kill, and okay, so they did get the Uber, but here comes Marble
Oh,
trying to get a
Marble
salvage.
flanked up.
Kenny hits it.
Oh, not quite. Almost.
Yeah,
Valiant effort from the side of G6 trying to go for that
They
flank,
had-
but they gave up too much. Yeah, bad, yeah,
They
that's
got
true. They got
forwards.
two
That's
forwards.
huge. Them getting those two forwards there is huge because now they can fight from second into mid as opposed to having to fight Froyotech walking into second. So that's gonna be huge. So the question is here: does Howard have to use? And the answer is an emphatic yes.
They're not getting anything with this. That probably too early. Sophie's actually going in and maybe trying to get Mirror Man.
They get Jay, and Habib's a little alone here. They get Banny. Habib's still caught out alone.
I'm surprised they're getting this many. They're actually so deep. And
oh, they're gonna get Howard though. Oh, Logan gets airshot too, but he lived.
Just enough health to survive that. I'm actually kind of surprised this many Froyotech players are dying, but at the end of the day, they're getting a little bit. Marm was able to get Rakusa, but has to give up his own life for it. So the chase was worth it at the end of the day. Give me your medic though, so you have to be careful. Gotta make sure that
going
you're
for
able
a flank here.
Oh,
I don't know if they know.
Into bot mode. Okay, this is going to be abysmal at the end of the day. They have to get May right now, but it doesn't look like it's really
it's not happening.
Okay, they went it was kind of, I wasn't really sure how deep they were willing to go. They went really deep, got both scouts, but I think they overstayed their welcome just a tad. Especially with the Howard death.
Yeah, so now G6 is kind of in a tough situation because this is basically a last hold, but they have the time to like try to go for like maybe some sacks or okay, Sniper, that's the play I was gonna say. Wondering what the play was, and Sniper is honestly a pretty good play in this situation, especially because Froyotech didn't choose the door that the Sniper's staring at. Here comes Habib going in at Mach 5, and is he able to lock them out? Bombo is going to take a little bit of a peek here. Does eat a little bit of damage, but in the end of the day, it was just, just buying some time. And in the end, Froyotech are going to have their Uberette for last on 50%. And G6 is trying to forward hold again, which I did like the first time they did this.
Yep, just have to make sure you don't accidentally overstay your welcome and you can have a gnarly scout Uber and it's happening. Yep, they get the one, they might get the second.
They're going to get Howard.
Very low, yeah, gonna die. They overstayed the welcome just a tad. Lack of vision kind of bit them at the end of the day.
They do have a level 1 here in the passive spot, but Froyotech have the numbers here. And yeah, they're on the point. Yep. That's a 4-3.
Gun's not going to defend that. That's a pretty rough spot for the side of G6. Started really strong, but it's starting to kind of flip the script. Actually, that's a 5-3. Never mind. I thought it was 4-3.
That's the 5. Yeah, so Froyotech.
That's the whole 5.
That was 4 rounds in a little over 10 minutes. So Froyotech really figured out G6 there. They went back to the drawing board, even though it was kind of back and forth close. Definitely, those Froyotech second half adjustments were huge. I feel like they got those mids under control for the most part.
Yep, definitely shows a lot of adaptation. It also shows how much of a plan B do you have if things don't really go your way. Froyotech put to the test, they were forced to formulate some sort of plan B going into the second half to kind of adjust and bring the game back under their control. The side of G6 when the second half started to go awry for them, unable to change things around. So close game, entertaining to watch. Definitely one of the better Badlands games we've seen in a bit. But at the end of the day, going into a second map of Gully Wash is going to be tough for the side of G6 coming off that loss.
Yeah, but I think, like I said before, they didn't get. I mean, I guess they did kind of got rolled that second half, but they showed some fight in the first half. So I don't think it's too devastating psychologically because they did have a second half comeback against you, but you initially had that upper hand. So at least they had something. Maybe I don't know. We'll have to see how mentally strong G6 are.
Yeah, at least it was like a halftime. Like that kind of stuff happening after a halftime is it feels a bit different than it happening in the heat of the moment. Like getting within 1 round away and then there's not even a halftime, they just flip a switch and all of a sudden start, putting a fire underneath them and taking rounds away from you. That's where it feels really bad. So at least if anything, G6 can be like, oh, wasn't our map. We didn't pick pro lands. We picked Gully. So it's not our map. It's whatever.
Sure, not our map pick. And plus they did just play a LAN together. And LAN does have these kind of like really long grindy TF2 matches where you're sitting here for multiple maps, a lot of stuff going on. So they're definitely at least used to it. This isn't their first rodeo.
Definitely not their first rodeo on Gully Wash either. This is definitely more of a staple.
How much have they played this map this season? Is this
Gully?
It's just weird to me because Gully. I feel like Gully and Badlands are a little similar. Not super similar, but I feel like Gully and Badlands definitely have some similarities. They're definitely both, I would say, pretty good soldier maps.
It probably just comes down to, well, I don't know, because for G6 it probably comes down to comfort, really, because even if you point out similarities between maps,
it is a pug map.
It is a pug map. That is very, very true. So definitely has to be taken into account. Definitely much more comfortable for the team overall than Prolance, I can only imagine. We talked about only a couple of the players are like extremely like old school to know the nooks and crannies of pro lands. I mean, you can be familiar enough with it, but still, every
I
little
saw
bit
Habib
counts.
putting up the hidden technology sticky traps from like 2010 in the pregame, so
Yeah.
definitely Froyotech came prepared with their the secret hidden map knowledge.
But not sure how long it's gonna take to go into Gully Wash. We have the teams loading in, but we just saw a display of what the teams are capable of and what they're showing tonight. We got a new map on our hands though, so taking everything into account, it's time to transition a bit and talk about Gully Wash in particular. What you kind of expect to see out of both these teams when they put head to head on this staple.
Yeah, I did mention a bit that Gully Wash and Badlands I think are both definitely maps that there's a lot of like really tiny kind of narrow corridors that can kind of really help soldiers against scouts, but you know I think Scout is kind of like Sniper and Highlander a bit, where I guess any map can technically be a Scout map if your Scouts are playing well enough. I don't know if you agree with me on that one, but definitely Scouts have that potential sometimes. And I will say, what do you think the differences are between Gully and Badlands? Like in terms of at least the map flow, I think Gully Wash second, we'll see a lot more of that than Badlands second, because I feel like Badlands can really snowball, and Gully Wash can snowball too, but definitely I feel like Badlands second, we really didn't see much of it.
I think the biggest thing is probably it's much more difficult to go behind. You always talk about like Badlands last is so difficult to push out because of all the different ways that a team can go behind and back cap you. But for Gully Wash, besides the whole like lobby deal, I mean all these chokes they're pretty easy to spot. Like
Hey, you can stand on top of the point on second and see all the ways you can leave last. So that is definitely, you can literally see all the doors from one part of the map, which you can definitely can't. I don't think you can do that on the Badlands. There's a lot of like nooks and crannies trying to leave last there.
yeah, it's possible for sure, but it's slightly harder to execute chaos, which is what we
Yeah.
saw G6 kind of lead with. They didn't necessarily like lean away with it or lean away from it in the second half. They just didn't need to do a whole lot of chaos per se because the game was a little bit into their control. And then when it wasn't, it was just straight up like you've lost mid, you get to sit at last, you don't get to try to go like behind or do any plays like that. So I guess it'll kind of be interesting to see how G6 will kind of adjust. Is are they going to continue to try to go for like let's try to get someone behind and do flank plays and stuff, even if the geometry of this map doesn't allow it to be as easy as the previous one? Do you change your
Yeah.
playbook at all, or I mean, I guess you never know what can happen, especially since this is a map that it's definitely it's not the first time they've played it as a team in particular. Like they've been together for about a year, so they definitely have a playbook by now that can match Froyotech's at least on paper in terms of ideas itself. So be kind of interesting to see what both the teams pull out. But I'm just curious about that adjustment in particular, given what we've just seen in the past like hour.
True, and I think Logan might be more comfortable on these on the goalie mids than on Badlands. But I don't think it's going to be like Badlands where one demo is going to be on top of the point and the other one's going to be like in house. I think both demos will be a little more equalized on mid in terms of like what they're doing, their positioning, unless they go their side or something really weird.
Yeah, there's always that factor. I mean, it's the same in that it's gonna be curious, I guess, as well because G6 did a lot of. They didn't do. It's kind of hard to say they did right or left side mids because they kind of just sat in Valley and then picked a side afterwards. But you can't
Yeah,
really do that on Gully Wash as much. So I'm not really sure what their go-to is going to be, but I guess defaults are always left. So we'll just kind of assume the teams are going to go left side until proven otherwise. But for scores, what are you thinking for both these
I'm
teams?
actually gonna go out on a limb and say like 5-3 G6. I'll say that this is their map pick. You know that Pro Lands was Freya's map pick. This is their map pick, so I'll actually say that G6 maybe takes the upper hand here.
Uh,
I,
it's
I'm going
hard
out
to
on a limb there, so
yeah, it's hard to say because like we just saw a good display of G6 and what they're capable of, and that they have potential to put on a really good game versus Froyotech. Um, but there's also the question of like, what is that factored in? Is that factored in because of the skill level that both these teams are bringing to the table today, or is that factored in the fact that Pro Lands is a little bit of a wild card since it's not like everyone's bread and butter, and it's not like refined in every single aspect for all these like players' individual like performances. It's easier to slip up if someone accidentally does the wrong thing that they weren't supposed to, or it wasn't as good, and that's gonna happen more often if it's not a map that you've been grinding for seasons on seasons. So I'll do the opposite. I'll do a 5-3 Froyo, but we are going live, so we get to see how things transpire, and the first mid in particular is definitely going to set the pace for this match underway. Froyotech versus G6. This is RGL Invite 6's Season 8, Week 6B. Space Ghost, take it away.
Yeah, I know that we do see some very early aggression from Marbleu onto Logan. Actually, onto Howard, excuse me. Howard getting bullied by Marbleu, and he is going to fall. So I see a lot of kills left and right, but May's also going to fall. So this is just a bloodbath for G6. They are going to add the consolation prize of getting May. But, you know, Marbleu falling to kill the medic. But in the end of the day, that's a lot of deaths for G6 and not that many for Froyo.
They shut them down on the elbow real hard, unable to really stop the double soldier bomb and the spam coming in from the side of Froyotech onto G6, and yeah, they left May a little bit vulnerable. I think he only had like 1 or 2 people with him at the tail end of that, but overall it's going to net them a pretty favorable position. They're able to retake second, you know, pretty even to get this bot mode killed and make sure that no shenanigans can really happen in lobby too much, spare the sticky traps that almost kill Mirror Man, but able to work their way through nonetheless, and just building up your Uber, getting ready for a good old Gully Wash last hold. Gonna see the gun coming out from the side of bot mode, not built up. But yes, the sack, sack's coming in before the gun's up. No damage on the Howard, he's 115 and chilling, but it's gonna be a point play instead. Putting sticks on the point, gonna lose bot mode, no pyro in play. And the water point play, all of the chaos, the gun's not even up yet. And actually, making the person to build the gun be the scout that ended up dying twice in this round is going to be probably the sole reason on why this last hold is in shambles for G6 and leaving Froyotech in the lead 1-0.
Yeah, Froyo was just like, hey, what if we just push all the doors? And everyone was just like, yeah, and then they just went around.
They just
literally pushed every door. That was really impressive. Yep. And Marbleu, again, getting very aggressive on the enemy side of the map, although G6 also just both teams deciding they want the other side of the map, but May is going to fall. Howard is still currently alive in Big Door. Very, you know, kind of passive, but a massive bomb from Marbleu is going to get a lot of kills, and it's just Howard left alive versus the oncoming G6 forward, it looks like. Or not, excuse me, the other way around.
Yeah, they sold out real. They took
look
a
at
page
Howard.
out of Froyotech's book.
He's in the spot.
They sold out real hard, both their soldiers inside the opposing team's elbow to make sure that May didn't end up dying. But the DM fight at the tail end of that afterwards, I mean Howard wasn't really there to heal him, he was baiting a little bit. So yeah, Marbleu just farmed him a little bit, made sure that things were secure. So I mean they're able to hold on to 2 for the side of G6. So you know they're able to have something, but Froyotech are actually trying to take it from him before the Uber comes into play.
Is super turbo high bombing. So is Soapy. He's actually the delay high bombing. Soapy's gonna go behind a lot of soldiers bouncing here and there.
Howard
but Howard gonna fall, Cap's gonna fall, Recruso gonna fall. Disaster for G6. Only Marbleu as the kind of courtesy pick there, and total disaster for G6 trying to push out fight second there. As we do have a bit of a backup going from bot mode, who's now caught behind too. Definitely not a place you want to be in. Froyotech actually went back for him. They know they have the luxury of Pioneer Uber, and they want to make sure there's no shenanigans happening. So, belt mode's going to be collapsed on from all sides, and now Froyotech have this massive Uber to work with. Maybe not massive, but definitely sizable.
Jay. That's something.
Yeah, that's a consolation pick, but you know, with 50% Uber, I think you can push up 5d6 into goalie, maybe.
Yeah, he'll be a little slow, but he'll eventually be there. But nonetheless, it looks like River's the door of choice for the side of Froyotech. They get the gun early, which is very, very nice. Make sure you can shoot some other targets. As he launches himself in, juggles Logan up, just trying to get some damage on him. Oh,
Logan
but no
living is huge,
there.
But Marbleu rolling onto the point. And they are going to get Recruso here. Marbleu he's actually not going to fall, so that's going to buy a lot of time. He's going to come back up for round 2. Marbleu, huge plays out of him, and Froyotech have a lot of cat time. Marbleu's still alive! Marbleu
unable to deal with them.
Single-handedly killed every single player trying to launch the point. Even if it wasn't direct, I think Marbleu won that round.
Yeah, a lot of damage and a lot of distraction. They did a pretty good start making sure they could have all their people survive, but they got locked out real hard, especially with that gun dying early. So good job from Froyotech, especially with they didn't have their full squad. Jay was still rolling out, able to participate to the tail end of that. So another mid going for both teams. 2-0 in favor of Froyotech. High bomb immediately coming from Marbleu, trying to get on a Logan who's backed up into the corner, but is going to die, landing on his stickies. Yeah, Cap's going to fall.
Cap's going to fall to stickies. Recruso going to fall now, and Froyotech is very aggressive here. Soapy going to end up in the skybox. They are going to get bandied, but that's it. As Howard is deciding he would like to live this mid-fight, and they are going to back out all the way to lobby. So, you know, don't want to risk any shenanigans happening or any disastrous refights, it looks like. And they're just going to sit up on last with actual Uberette, so maybe they can, hopefully they don't have any disastrous like last time, as Logan is putting the stickies in the sneaky spots on the point.
Gonna be a bit of a stalemate, I think. Oh no, I was gonna say we had Banny on Sniper, but never mind, he was just forwarding. It's actually gonna be Jay on Sniper, so we get to see what Jay is capable of. We've seen some gnarly plays from Jay on Sniper, so I can't wait to see what he's gonna pull out this time around. First shot's always gonna be the most important one, because it is the one with the element of surprise.
He's going River.
So, yep, gonna go River and see what he can see.
He's probably gonna jump on, he's jumping on the thing.
Quick scope.
Howard,
Ooh, not quite.
I think he missed because Howard was standing still. Howard was like in a derpy place just standing still, and it definitely like it kind of messes with you from extra stance. He's trying to go for it again. He had the angle,
He's
but
in
wasn't
water
quite.
now.
Yeah, now he's caught on water. This is a little awkward.
And he
Wait, he
circled
surfed in? Oh, he went for it, but was not able to hit it. Froyotech going for a bit of a point play again, using Jay as a distraction, and they're gonna end up taking a 1v2, so not ideal. And Danny is kind of under the point here. Probably, he actually gets Sophie. That's rather big, and he's still alive. So, if Danny, look at this distraction.
Go for a point as well.
Howard is so hurt.
He's distracting him. Bandy going onto the point, fighting bot mode. Bot mode's low. The Uber's gonna get forced on the side of Howard. Chasing the river, counter Uber from the side of the blue team. They're pushed in. I don't know if they exactly want to be there, but they're able to get bot mode down. And actually, Logan not in best position, stuck inside the secret area. Bandy on top of the point, gonna have Soapy bomb in and make sure that's blocked away. But Howard gonna fall to the Mirror Man's name. It's just Soapy left alive, and with all the chaos going down, Froyotech able to take this round very quickly at 3-0.
These Froyotech last pushes are so, I'm not going to say unorthodox, but they really just, I feel like they're just, the pressure from water, these last 2 rounds has really done job. First it was Marmaloo in water, now it's Banny in water, just creating so much chaos and really, Banny winning that 1v1, I feel like really opened the door for that victory onto that last.
Yeah, they're even playing really high risk. They're totally okay with, like, even though Jay was on sniper, Banny was their only scout, they completely detached Banny away from the combo to go, like, do plays in water. And if that ends up going south and they need to hightail it out of there and things end up being really bad, you don't have any scout to actually deny, like, really fast bombs in a May as they're trying to retreat. So they're definitely putting a lot of their eggs in one basket, but it's ended up working out, and they're able to find themselves the place they need to be to not only win a lot of these stalemates, but I think they've been doing a pretty good job in the mids as well. I mean,
Yeah, the mids have been very good.
There was one where G6 kind of took a page out of their book and kind of locked things down, but for the most part, Froyotech have been kind of on top of things. So I guess it's kind of a deja vu of the last match we saw of these two teams on Pro Lands. The beginning starts, Froyotech's kind of on top of things. G6 has to make some sort of adaptation to change things, or I guess other way around.
This is the mirror image.
Yeah, a team starts on top of things, and it's going to be up to the other one to really flip things around because it's very, very one-sided right now.
Yeah, I remember we casted a match. I think it was last season or 2 seasons ago. We casted a match sometime where Froyotech got rolled the other team 3-0, so they didn't really have any halftime adjustments to make. So then they were kind of on the receiving end of the halftime adjustments because they had nothing to fix. So you might see that here where now G6 can go back to the drawing board and like really iron out what the issues are, and maybe they can get some rounds back in just because Froyotech have nothing to fix in halftime. So their usual, I feel like one of their bigger strengths of the team is them figuring out things mid-match might not be as effective here. But G6 do have a tall order here, getting 3 rounds back on the board in 1/2 just to tie it up, more or less, get the dub.
Yeah, and it's really rough because these mids aren't necessarily going like
that heavy
long.
damage. Oh my god.
Yeah, 500 DPM. I mean,
he didn't even die. He had a perfect game.
Realistically, both the demos are doing insane amount of
damage.
Yeah,
Logan's doing insane damage too.
But realistically, I think it's because of how fast the game is kind of going. Like, even the stalemates are kind of over in one sack wave. We aren't getting to see any counter sacks because the first try is kind of working. So, it's a bit different when it comes to what we saw in Pro Lands, where whether or not a team won or lost the mid, they were relatively like long and strung out. Like a soldier would jump in and go behind, but it took a bit for the mid to really end, where this is kind of the complete opposite. So I am not surprised to see stats like that, but I am curious to see if that's going to change, if a team's going to try to play at a little bit of a slower pace to put things in their favor. So we'll see what's in store for us as we are starting the beginning of the second half between Froyotech and Leica G6.
Yeah, definitely curious to see what adjustments are made. It looks like you do have Marmaloo. He's actually going to like to knock... Oh, here comes the aggression. It was just delayed a little. They're actually waddling under the point. A lot of chaos happening as they do kind of land on G6, just kind of waddling. A lot of players waddling on the floor as they get Jay, they get players as some courtesy, but in the end, May is going to live. That's the real kill that matters. Soapy typing Grant down in chat. Love to see it. But unfortunately, this Constellation Prices aside, that's another lost mid for G6. Not a great start if you want to get back into this game.
Yeah, they did a lot of underneath aggression, like literally a submarine mid to like try to try to poke around to the enemy team's big door, but they kind of just accidentally ran into a soldier while doing that. So it spilled their death pretty quickly, but they're able to take people down on their way out. So not all is lost, although they are at disad right now. The side of G6 May did live through that whole debacle, so gonna work their way into lobby, get the second cap up, and go ahead and try to pick a door to push into last. You do have a gun and a sniper up. Yeah, they're watching River really heavily, but the question is will anyone peek and die to those stickies?
I've seen that. I've been. That was my POV there. I've seen that where you're just on sniper. They do get J, so that is might throw. They're gonna go anyway, even the 5v6.
Yep, onto the heavy,
we'll see.
into the spawn.
Look at the point time. They don't have anyone to block it.
Yeah, Banny's just on top of the point, and that's a pretty easy cap. Did they even have any stickies there? I'm not sure. Oh no, Logan had trapped River and just dead his sticks, so he didn't really have like anything super duper set up. So they said, all right, there's no sticks, let's just go in, go straight to point, get some frags on the way there.
Is that almost a disrespect play when you do a 5v6 last push? Is that would you say it's disrespect, or is that just like we're feeling good about ourselves?
They're not really in position. You have a sniper and a dome man that's not by the spawn door, so they're just not really set up. But we've got another mid coming our way. Double soldier bomb on Logan, on the floor. Habib dying immediately. But same with Logan, so trading dome man, gonna give both their soldiers for it. Only Soapy left alive until he eventually does fall. Just May and Banny on the side of Froyotech trying to work their way out, but they're getting chased by a duo, and they are able to chase down Banny. May maybe getting one, not too healthy, unable to connect the melee there. So G6 able to take the mid with both their scouts left alive and Howard. So not only do they get this mid, but they have a nice Uber ad to try to work their way into 2 and then maybe even last. Actually, it's crits. Never mind. It's not even Uber.
Yeah, good point. That is crits. So that's the G6 back to the drawing room. I think they may not have expected to win this mid.
Oh, that's not crits anymore.
That's a dorp too. That was 100%.
As soon as you say back to the drawing board, you curse them. How could you do this?
I did. That, yeah, I can't believe I did that to them. Marblue gonna tactically avoid an air shot via the air straight function, but G6 are gonna keep going in anyway. And Jay's on sniper is gonna get. They're gonna try to bomb. They did a little bit of damage to it, but in the end, I don't think it's gonna work out too. Logan trying to go for a hero play, not gonna work. Soapy probably gonna get air shot, headshot. Did not see him, but Soapy probably in the air. And on that note, yeah, back to the drawing board again.
That's some serious desperation. Your medic dies, you're not even in yet, and you decide to keep going in. It's not like you're caught and be like, all right, well, we're already in, so just keep fighting. They made a conscious decision to just go in, and didn't really work out. They're actually, look at Howard and Caps. They're just up in upper. They're gonna get caught out by the side of Habib and Banny here. Howard actually doesn't even have beam right now, barely able to escape. They're unable to find him, but they are able to get Caps, so that is something for. Okay, so
wait, what?
So he's like, all right, if I don't do this with these, then what are you doing? He's turned up right now. He knows what needs to be done, and he's doing it for his team.
That was. How did I have no words. I think that play speaks for itself. And then bot mode is going to be on the point. Habib actually going to be able to walk out there. Marblue going to try to kill bot mode. Isn't going to able to succeed. Jay going to try to ring out some some pot shots, but in the end, that actually kind of brought G6 back to this game. So maybe some last breath for G6 there.
Oh, that's not going to breathe wind in you. I don't know what will. They are going to drop down, seeing what they can see on an adventure, as some would say. They might accidentally find some traps if they're not too careful. Bomb from Mirror Man. Trap's not going to find anything, so the Uber is still intact. The rest of Froyotech getting the way out. They're chasing somebody behind, and Jay's able to make sure that frag is secured back there, and he is on a 4K right now. Uber.
Well, they Ubered around the corner. They don't want any part of Jay.
They just, they are not playing with fire here. Playing it safe, but Banny getting a little bit aggressive.
There's stickies behind him. He's a little caught. Yep, there goes May. Yeah, those stickies. Good heads up by Logan. They're putting the stickies behind Banny, so May could not get the Banny without dying horribly. And on that, this is chaos. I feel like Froy was just like, all right.
The arrow into Jay. Huge from Howard.
Yeah, so Jay being down is honestly, I feel like a breath of relief, because Jay was just running around just getting headshot after headshot. So just to be kind of the last defender here, and it looks like G6 actually might have Soapy might have single-handedly revived G6 into getting around here.
Sometimes all you need is one little thing to bring your team back up.
Yeah, or in this case, 3 little things.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we do see how G6 likes to push last year. We'll see how they do. Have you seen a G6 last push yet? Yeah, we saw one, I think.
If I do, I don't remember it.
Yeah, I don't remember it. I don't think it ended well. Regardless,
it definitely didn't end well because they're
and maybe we haven't. I don't know. Badlands and Goalie are already bleeding together in my mind. And then we do have
lass.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, they are kind of similar. We do have the Pyro here. The Pyro is doing. He right clicks Logan onto the other side of the map. This Pyro is actually doing a lot of good work here. So you do have point pressure. There's nobody on the point. He's just capping.
They played heavy for the point there, recognizing that was the only way for them to really win that after it went so poorly early on. Yeah. Howard might die here. Mirror Man on the chase.
Oh,
Trying to get the
tried to
melee
spoon.
off.
Is actually gonna get it, and he might get this pack in a. So on that note, we do. Oh, here comes the forward trap.
Oh,
Let's see
there's
if anyone
Ian.
dies to it. Okay, they
They're
get
getting really
Mirror Man,
aggressive.
so getting a little too aggressive there, but you know, kind of a consolation prize to unfortunately losing last. As Froyotech is gonna try to push through Choke here into like 2 projectile classes. They're actually gonna end up using this Uber just to collect the skill on the demo. And Rakusa, who is actually behind, so they did a good job getting this Uber and bringing people back. So you know, a small victory there.
Uber for 3 though, which is not definitely what you want.
They might get
really.
their forwards in time, which, you know, that means that we can actually have a proper second hold this match. Which
I suppose, yeah.
Is this our first second hold across 2 maps?
I think so, but I guess
Yeah.
we'll kind of see.
Just one of those games.
We almost had one, and it was immediately a dry push that ended very poorly for the side of G6. They were not
Yeah.
able to set up and get their Uber in time, but this is a true stalemate. No one's really going for any dries, at least yet. Everyone's okay. Bot mode, why'd you got to do that? Now we're gonna see a dry push.
Yeah,
We don't get to
now,
see
yeah.
this. Well, maybe it's better that we don't get to see the stalemate. And who knows?
Yeah.
It's just a scout pick, so we'll see how Froyotech ends up working off of that. Looks like they don't care. They know it's a scout, doesn't affect the spam. Don't care. Didn't ask. We're just gonna get our Uber. And
Yeah.
that's what they're going to go for.
Yeah, in the end, that didn't really factor into their calculations, and they're probably going to go big door anyway, so it didn't really matter too much to begin with. They're going to eat a bit of damage there from that Marmaru sack, but it looks like they're actually content to just do a single sack. I don't see anyone behind or anything weird like that, so just they're like, oh, alright, Marmaru, skip, jump in, ruin your KD a bit,
Holy
back to square
Sophie.
one. And yeah, Sophie, actually, they're going to get Mirror Man there. They want to use through. They know we have 4 rounds to get, and we don't really have, you know, we got to start making some plays here.
Yeah, trying to get out through big
Logan getting
is
walked
much
at by a
worse.
scout, though.
Howard's going to die at the end of this, but they got to get something from the side of G6 on
Oh, here comes some
Froyotech.
big bomb.
Bomb's coming in. On to May, surfing around. A little bit of damage on it, but the final rocket from Sophie will collect that kill. Jay Fong as well, Sophie giving him his life. Logan and the scout left alive for the side of G6, trying to chase down anyone they can on the opposing side of the map, able to make sure the
Habib
Mirror
is in
Man
the
and
enemy
Banning are
choke.
falling, and Habib is behind. He's going to get this kill. Just barely.
Caps down. Hashtag.
But now he's on the wrong side of it. Oh, one shot.
He
The
almost
second
hit
one?
that.
Not
That
quite.
was-
Bot mode. 5 more health than you need.
I was terrified for Bombo there. He was almost frag videoed by Habib. That was dangerously close to being frag videoed. And
Oh, Logan. Logan
Yeah,
just
Logan-
dies on 2? What's
he was,
happening?
I think he was trying to get aggressive and choke.
Oh, he was spawn camping and bit off more than he
Oh.
could chew.
Unfortunate. Marmaloo actually going to eat a lot of damage here. This is so chaotic. We see a scout behind, very hurt, probably going to fall, but Danny's doing a very good job bringing people back with 3 HP.
Just
And now they're
distraction
caught
for
now,
Froyotech to run forward. Yeah, they're caught here. Into the big door area. Caps not going to be able to get anything on his way out. Logan, just takes the upward direct there. No, Marmaloo barely gets that kill. Oh, okay. Well, Mirror Man is behind. Going to be able to distract Soapy at least a little bit, but Soapy with he's the last person left
Here he
alive.
comes.
Hail Mary play.
Oh.
Body blocked by Marmaloo. Shot backwards into the health pack
there's
that's
no
not
pack.
there.
Oh.
He's still dancing around, but unable to make sure that he wins that. So overall, Froyotech are in a pretty prime position here to close out this match. Although this last hold could come in clutch from the side of G6. The ad's not that huge. They got a little bit of time to build up. They're trying to stand with the gun before they go and pick a door and go, but not able to really find that. So they still have that in their favor. But Jay actually really aggressive onto Logan. Going to be able to make sure he puts some damage out.
They
and
get the
back
gun
up.
before again.
Yeah, it's
so
a
that
big
gun spot
distraction.
definitely, getting the gun before the last push is huge, and that's multiple times how they've done it. Habib jumping in
Oh,
very far.
Howard.
Howard gonna almost die there. That was almost a tragedy. Actually gonna get he's not even gonna resup line, get the pack. They are gonna get Mirror Man. Rakusa gonna fall down though, means that they're not gonna get, you know, that less players to go on the point, but Habib gonna fall. Marvel gonna try to make a miracle point play, and he does
Marvel
get
once
the
again.
scout, but he brings people down to the low ground for these scouts to clean up. Just Howard and Soapy versus the universe. Now it's just Howard. Rakusa was a spawner, but it's not gonna be in time, and at the end of the day, that is a 5-0 for Froyotech. You know, shenanigans aside, that was pretty clean.
Yep. For the most part, I think Froyotech were in control like most of the match, especially with when things did slow down. I think they did a pretty good job of making sure it was ramped back up to a fast enough pace. Like even when G6 kind of played chaotic, Froyotech
Yeah, I think
were able
G6
to-
turned up the chaos factor, and
Yeah.
Froyotech were still in command, even if it didn't look like that. You know, they came out on top for most of those team fights.
So pretty different showings compared to the 2 maps we saw, but I guess at the end of the day that are different maps. But quite the doubleheader between these 2 teams. I think this probably lands Froyotech definitely a top 2 spot for the seeding for sure. G6 with both these losses, you know, they're not in a bad spot, but you know they're still floating around. Well, like the second, third area.
G6 went from undefeated to 2 losses on one night. That's definitely a tragedy.
Yeah, I mean, it's kinda hard to say exactly how things are gonna go because I think there's still a lot of matches that are really important that need to
Yeah.
be played, but I think it's safe to say that you can probably see both these teams in playoffs. When it comes to this matchup, I mean, we just played the doubleheader for both the matches this season, so it's gonna be a bit till you see them again. If you see them again, I guess it kinda depends on how things go when it comes to playoff seeding, but, it should be very exciting to see how things transpire over the next couple, weeks or so.
Yeah, we do have looks like we have Danny and Habib in and Marmlu here for the post game interview. So we got three of the major Froyotech gamers. And how are you guys feeling from your double header? Pretty clean 5-0 there at the end.
Power, power!
Yeah, feeling good. I feel like it's been a while since we've had any like really good nights of high level TF2, so it was nice to have it tonight.
So let's talk a little bit about Badlands. Going into it, it's definitely a little bit of a throwback map. Would you kind of describe how you thought about that map going into it? I mean, there's a lot of things when it comes to Badlands in terms of really old strategies or trying to bring like new blood into the map and that kind of thing. Were you kind of expecting the way it went and it was like kind of didn't really go your way and you had to adjust, or just talk to me about how you felt going through the match?
Well, it definitely is one of the maps we've prepared the least on. Part of the reason that I picked it was, well, for one, we did well on it at LAN against them, so I knew that, potentially they're in the same boat. So, if we're both unprepared, usually that favors us. But besides that, yeah, we definitely started a bit slow. I think that we knew that their strategies usually is like to play extremely aggressive, but I think we had the wrong approach to like handle that on mids. And obviously at halftime, we addressed that and changed our mids dramatically. So yeah, just needed that little bit of a adjustment, I think.
Do you think there was any like reminders of like maybe a play style and the way that G6 was playing as you went through the Badlands match that you took in the Gully Wash match? Because it's a different map, but I mean it's the same players, same tendencies. So do you think that going into a doubleheader in particular was a good preparation that led to this Gully Wash result, or do you think it was just unrelated and it's a different map and a different story?
Caps and Howard really don't like playing the game a lot of the times. They like to leave the map. So, that's something in mind.
Yeah. I'd say that after we had the second half on Badlands, we were definitely like realizing, what works better. So we took that into Gully Wash for sure. I will say Gully is probably a more comfortable map for us either way, but we definitely tried to keep up that sort of like aggressive playstyle that we brought on Badlands.
Did you expect Gully Wash to go the way it did after just seeing how close Badlands is? You never know how matches are going to go. You go into Badlands like, oh
Mhm.
well, they're putting up a fight. It's pretty close. Did you kind of expect it to be like the same story or the different story that it ended up being?
Well, Soapy just has such a weak mental. I figured, we'd just be able to roll them.
I was waiting for Soapy to fast roll on me every mid on Gully Wash, but it never happened. I think he blurs. But he did give it up. No, but he did a variation of it though at the very last minute, which is smart. I like the way he changed that up. That was nice. He hit me with the low bomb, then rebomb. I like that.
Yeah.
At that
No,
last
I'm just
round,
kidding though.
that last round, Soapy did go a little Super Saiyan. He got like that triple spoon,
Mhm.
fast rolling out mid. He definitely he tried
That's what
his
he
best.
does. Spoonmeister.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, I definitely would have thought, it would be just as close, that they wouldn't like be a pushover or anything. So we went in fully expecting to have to fight for every single round. I don't know, how they felt about it. Maybe, they had their glimmer of hope first half and then they just kind of, awoke from the dream. But I don't know. They didn't quite play as well, I feel like.
All right. Well, it was a long night compared to some of the other nights because, of course, it was a doubleheader and there's a lot of TF2 that was played. But overall, when you think about the entire night and how it transpired, if you had to give an MVP to your team, who would you give it to? Who do you think really popped off and helped lead your team to victory?
Habib kind of went
Tough one.
crazy map too.
Yeah. I was
Tatsu.
Kind of a
I was
superhuman.
getting a bit frustrated at some of Habib's positioning decisions on Badlands, but map 2, was pretty flawless. I think I definitely got to give credit to our soldiers as MVPs because, even though they didn't have the most glorious role, they made a lot of space for us, and it allowed us to kind of come back into that match, which probably set the tone for the second map, really. Like, if we hadn't made that adjustment from our soldiers on Badlands, I think it would have been a completely different story, so got to give them the credit, I think.
I had to go 1-10. I had to.
The Romer special.
I have to do it every now and then.
You gotta
Let
give
people
them
know.
some reverse psychology, a little hope.
Yeah, I think roamers should think of their KD as, like, backwards. It's the more deaths.
Marmalu goes 10 and 30, so I can go 30 and 10. That's just the way it works.
Exactly.
I unfortunately have to bait him. That's just the way it is.
No,
Have
as
to
long
go
as
1-10.
as long as it's intentional and what your team needs, it's a good it's a good thing to be willing to die for your team. So
I ride for my soldiers. I die for my soldiers.
All right, well,
exactly.
congratulations on your victory. It was definitely hard fought and well deserved. And it's gonna be a bit before we see you guys play against G6 again. But I can only imagine that it's likely that you might cross paths in playoffs. So we'll see how things go. But gonna be a bit before that happens. Probably end up closing out the stream pretty soon here, as we've had a long night, and it's time to go ahead and pack up and head out soon. Before we close out, you guys any last minute shout outs before you go ahead and end things, starting with Banny going down?
Cool. Well, shout out to G6 for a good match. Shout out to everyone who tuned in. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Definitely be sure to tune in for playoffs. You're going to see a lot more like that. Shout out to everyone who's on the grind still. Playoffs approaching. No matter what division, stay focused. Eye on the prize. Don't get caught up in some drama or some edgelord shit. No need for that. Let's just start getting things on the right path as we build to bigger and better things. Lands coming back, all that kind of stuff. Let's try and make the TF2 community a great place. All right. Besides that, shout out to my teammates for a good game and adjustments there at the halftime.
Habib?
Shoutouts to you guys, killing it as usual on the production and the cast. Shoutouts to the viewers. Shoutouts to G6, GG's, my guys. Glad, and shoutouts to the viewers. Hopefully we're able to put on a good TF2 for you guys. As Banny said, playoffs just around the corner. It's gonna be getting a lot more hectic. Make sure y'all hit the mountains, meditate, you know what I'm saying? Get that good prana. And yeah.
Marmalu? Oh,
He's
rest in
muted.
peace. Rest in peace,
Yeah,
Marmalu.
well,
Yeah, rest in
Oh.
peace. Never heard from
Shout
him.
out to the top 50 list I still have to make.
Yep. He's got some homework.
Slacking. I had that in one day. Come on, get
I
on
guess
it.
I could, if I could, shout it out. We're doing a top 50 podcast this weekend, so everyone can tune into that. It should be a lot of fun.
All right, anything from you, Space?
Shout out to you guys playing a great game as usual. Shout out to G6, putting up a good fight. Shout out to I guess I'll return to my roots. I'll give a ski shout out. It's been a hot minute.
It's a classic.
Mhm.
Definitely shout out to all the viewers as well for hanging out and watching with us. Make sure to go ahead and check out the merch shop. It's always open. Shop.rgl.gg to see the seasonal attire and all sorts of goodies that you can take a peek at and see if anything piques your interest. But for games, I mean, it's hard to say when games are going to happen. The scheduling this season in particular has been pretty rough, so can't exactly promise when things are going to happen. But you can always kind of assume that if it does, that it's around the week, sometimes around 11 EST. If you want something kind of stable to fall back on, that's for sure the Highlander will always happen on Mondays, the bare minimums. You can always bet on that, but we will keep you updated with what's happened and as soon as we know. But for tonight, at the very least, that'll be it for us. I've been Jarrett, casting with Space Ghost with Dolphin on production. Thank you and good night.
Good night.
Peace.